It's great to see y'all again, or I guess know that you're here. We have about 3 people on the call, so people hopefully will be dialing in as the call is going on. I'm Caroline Wolf, and we have Barbara and Mel on the line as well if anybody has questions. I see, it looks like most people are joining via audio only. We're going to record this, and it's going to be available as usual on YouTube. We're going to upload it to YouTube so that if you want to look at it later, you'll be able to do that. So I just wanted to start by going through our agenda. And the first thing on the agenda is the funding to date for Libraries Connecting Texas. I'm just so excited when I report these statistics because you know, the Libraries Connecting Texas project is mainly made up of really small libraries, and you represent roughly half of the funding for libraries in Texas. So kudos for all of you, for all of your work and all of the great E-rate discounts that y'all have gotten. The funding for the LCT was around about $1.1 million. Just to give y'all a reference, all the libraries in Texas got $2.1 million, and for the state, it's $163.3 million. So all the rest of that money went to the schools, which will just give you an example of how much money, how much E-rate money goes to schools versus libraries. So I think it's just great that y'all are participating in the program and showing up for libraries because I think it's a good thing for libraries in general. So right now, we actually only have 2 libraries that are still waiting for funding commitments. Tyler Public Library and Dallas Public Library are still the only 2 who haven't received funding commitment decision letters yet. I think Tyler is in the middle of PIA right now, and I think Dallas just started as well. So hopefully we'll be seeing funding for them by the end of the year. For 2018, there are still some libraries who have not filed invoices for their discounts. It's kind of a shame to go through the whole process and the strain of filing for E-rate, but not getting the final money that was approved for the funding. So in 2018, we still have about, let's see, 28 funding requests total that still haven't had an invoice set. I'm sorry, 27 that still haven't had a funding commitment. I mean, not a funding commitment, an invoice set yet. That means that no one's filed a BEAR or a SPI for it. This is for C2 and C1 applications, so we're expecting some of these Category 2 applications to be invoiced later, but a lot of them are for Category 1. And we have several that do not have a Form 498. So I'm going to be sending out an email soon, probably this afternoon, just letting everybody know what the latest information is for the status of the Form 498 and invoicing. For those who had an invoice deadline of October 28th, we went ahead and requested a deadline extension for you. And that doesn't get you off the hook completely because it only gives you 120 days to submit that invoice. But you know, it does give you a little extra time than a week. So if you're one of the libraries that doesn't have a Form 498 and doesn't have an invoice mode set, you really need to act soon, act now, because it could take a little while to get the Form 498 filed. So I'll be sending that list out probably this afternoon or tomorrow. So just keep an eye out for those. Most of you have submitted the Form 486. I think everybody has submitted the Form 486. So good for y'all for being on the ball. That's one form that everybody submitted. We still have about 25 libraries who need to file 470s for 2020 and 2021. A couple of you have gotten together with us and said that you're ready to go ahead and file, and we're going to be setting up webinars to get those filed, but don't wait till after Thanksgiving. Let's get this all done before the end of November so that we can all have a very pleasant Thanksgiving and Christmas and not have to worry about competitive bidding. 3 service providers have not filed a service provider annual certification form. That's Bandera Electric Cooperative, Grande Communications Networks, and Harris Broadband. If that's your service provider, you're not going to get your discounts on your bill until, or you might get them, they may be discounting your bills, but they're not going to get paid, and you're not going to get paid until they file that annual certification form. So if you're on this call and one of those service providers is yours, you should either let your service provider know that they need to provide that form to USAC, or or get in touch with us. We can create a case in USAC and have USAC reach out to them. It should be a pretty quick and painless procedure for them. So especially if it means that they get paid. There's still 2 there's still 2 training dates left for USAC. One is in San Marcos, California, and the other one is in Atlanta. So I think everybody who really had an opportunity probably went in for the Farmers Branch training, but that's just to let y'all know that there's still a couple of trainings left. Today on the call, one of the things that I wanted to show y'all is how to navigate through the USAC website, because a lot of times you may want some information about how to do something and you just don't know where to go. So I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do with the USAC website. So the USAC website URL is usac.org/SL. And there are, of course, different buckets of money that go with the Universal Service Program. So they also have little tabs for those if you're interested in looking at those just to see. You can actually get to EPC from here as well by going to log in and clicking on EPC. Just to let you know. If you're one of those people who needs to file a BEAR, you can go to the USAC website and click on Forms, and there's a link there to go to file the BEAR. Of course, you need a PIN number, and you need to know what your BIN number is in order to get there. So make sure you have those things when you're ready to file your BEAR. Everything else, except for the Form 479, should be in EPC. So there are some other little user guides and information. So for those of you who need to file a Form 470, you might want to go and look at the Form 470 user guide. We've sent a lot of information on how to do it, but it's always nice to have other references. To get more information, you can also click on the Trainings and Outreach tab link under Resources and Tools. There you'll find that they have webinars, so you can go and look at any of their webinars. There's a handouts and reference section that doesn't have a whole lot of information. There's, of course, the reference area, which is in alphabetical order. Sometimes the things that you look for aren't there, and so it takes a little bit of navigation to get there. All of you should be receiving the weekly news brief as part of what USAC sends out every week. And if you are not currently subscribed to that, you can click on the subscription center and subscribe, and they'll send you an email every week with the news. But one of the good things about here is that if you want to see if they did a news brief on a particular topic, you can search by topic or by date to get information about what the guidance is. And it kind of really just goes back to, I think, 2017. I don't even see any from 16. So I think it's mainly just 17, 18, and 19 that are indexed here. Other cool things that there are here is tools. When I do reporting every week and I see who needs to file a Form 470 or who needs to file a BEAR, I use these tools. I go to the FRN status tool and I click on it, and I can toggle by bin if I'm looking for one particular applicant, or I can toggle to Texas, and I can look at all of the applicants that were under E-Rate Central and toggle to libraries, and I'm selecting data points. When I select data points, see, it's going to give me an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to select data points. I'm going to select all data points, but if you only want to know just a few different things, you can go through and decide which elements you want to be in your spreadsheet. I think for many of you, the really important thing is maybe the charges and then what exactly you were funded for and things like that. But I'm going to just choose everything, and I'm going to click on Build Data File, and it gives me a comma-separated spreadsheet of everybody in Texas that E-Rate Central filed applications for, and that's a lot of them are the Texas libraries. So this is what I use for getting information about. Some people have already been funded and actually already have been getting discounts, including submitting a BEAR. Yay for the person who submitted a BEAR. All of these people have started getting their discounts already for 2019. This is not even for 2018. So it's good to see that many of you have already started reaping the benefits of your E-rate discounts, and you're getting discounted billing. I'm seeing a lot earlier people getting the invoice mode set a lot earlier than last year. So it looks like y'all are really getting to get the hang of the E-rate program. So that is just another interesting thing about the USAC website. You can also do things like you can look for your Form 498 status here. When you file the Form 498, they issue you a Form 498 ID. That number, you can search that number here, and it will let you know what the status is. I don't have an example of that right now, but you can type in your Form 498 ID here, and it will actually give you whether or not it has been certified or approved. And of course, you have to have an approved Form 498 in order to file a BEAR. Many of you also need to go and update your business type status in your Form 498, so don't forget to do that. USAC's been giving us sending out emails saying that you have until October 31st to do that change, and I'm not sure what they're going to do to people if they don't get it done by Halloween. But I don't think I'd want to be one of those people, especially those of you who have still need to file BEARs for 2018. If you need to change your applicant PIN, that can be done here under Tools. The open data search is something that they actually taught people how to do in the USAC training for those of you who went. And I can show you what I use it for. I actually use it for the Form 498 because I don't actually have a Form 498, and I just want to know how if everybody has actually submitted their Form 498. So You can actually create a profile in here, and you can save reports here. I did that, and apparently my password's not working. I'll try this. Just did this the other day. Okay, one more thing. It doesn't like me. Okay, so I won't keep trying to do it. But you don't have to actually log in to run the report that you want. It's just easier when you can save a report. I'm going to go to E-Rate Supplemental Entity Information. That's where I go to find out if people have Form 498. So I'm going to click on View Data, and it shows up right here. And of course, this is everything in the whole country. So I need to limit that to just Texas. So I'm going to click on Filter, and I'm going to add a filter condition, which I am going to change it to the physical state, which is Texas. Now, of course, for you, you could actually also limit it to one entity. So you could type your entity number in there, and it would bring only information for your library. You can use the entity name, or you can use the entity number. I would use the entity number because sometimes the name that you're listed in EPC is not necessarily what you would normally type. So if you use the entity number, you'll always find what you need. I'm also going to change the status to entity type because I want only libraries. If you click on the little wheel at the bottom, the little cog down here under options, you can toggle it to show suggested values, and then you can check out what kind of entity type that you want. I'm going to select a library and a library system. And then, so I've now filtered it out, so it's only Texas, and it's Texas libraries and library systems. So now we have 953 lines instead of, I don't know how many were there before. And I'm going to go ahead and export it to Excel. And it gives me a spreadsheet. So I can look and see what the status is for the Form 498. Let's see, what column is that? Oh, here it is. Column I. So I can see of all of the libraries in the state of Texas, who has an approved Form 498 and who doesn't have an approved Form 498. There's some other things that I do to run this report too, but if you're just looking for your own peace of mind, you can use your own entity number, and it'll tell you if you're approved or not. Unfortunately, it does not give the Form 498 number, because it'd be a lot easier if I went in with the Form 498 number and I could do the search. But if you filed the Form 498, you should have that number, and you should be able to use that tool to look up whether or not your status was approved or not. That's the goal. We want an approved Form 498 for anybody who's filing a BEAR. If you're using discounted billing and SPIs, you don't need to have a Form 498, but if you are using the BEAR method for anything, you want to have approved by the name of your library in this column. So some people have certified, and that means that there's still some information that USAC needs. Rusk is one of those. Let's see who else. They're still asking for some more information. This one, it says the bank rejected. Usually that means that there was a typo on the Form 498 and the banking information didn't match what was given as evidence of the routing number and account information. So anything that says certified or is blank in here, they are not able to file a bear at this point. So if that's one of you and you need help, let us know. So that is the open data tool. There are lots of different things that you can look up here. You can look up funding information. If you want to be able to provide information about your funding, there's all kinds of tools that you should go here and play with if you want to learn more about how to report that information. So other things in the USAC website. So the news brief is actually also located on the USAC webpage. So if you maybe missed the news brief, you're still not subscribed, and you want to go look at it, you can go and look at it. Here's where they said that the update for the Form 498 needs to be by October 31st, 2019. And so it's very cryptic. I don't know what that means, what they're going to do, but if you have a Form 498 and you haven't updated your business type, go ahead and do it. The reference area is good because if you have a particular thing that you need to learn about, it's alphabetical, and there's a link that you can go to. Another thing that's helpful, especially if you need to talk to your technical people or someone in the city, the eligible services list. Now, we don't currently have an approved eligible services list for 2020, but you can go and look at the 2019 eligible services list, and that gives you a really good idea of what's eligible. And if you want to go back and look at some of the older ones, they have them listed from all the way from 1998, just to give you an example of what eligible services list used to look like. This is a 52-page document, and that's from 2008. Now, if you look at the one from 2019, it's a 14-page document, and some of that is a few pages of the actual order that they issued. So you actually don't get to the eligible services list till page 8. And so you can look and see the types of things that are eligible for E-rate discounts under Category 1 and Category 2. So if you are thinking about doing a Category 2 application and you want to know if something's eligible, this is where you would look. You would consult the eligible services list. We're hoping that they're going to come out soon with the eligible services list for 2020, but the FCC has to make a decision about what they're going to do with Category 2 budgets and with the eligible services list. So we're still waiting. So I guess I've shown kind of, I think, the core of what is available here on the USAC website. Again, it's something I recommend that you go and look at just for general purposes. And there are some webinar recordings that you can look at. It's like if you're getting ready to file a BEAR and you want to learn about the E-rate invoicing process, this is a good one to go and look at. Preparing, this is for funding year 19. We're already in funding year 19, but here's the EPC 101 for applicants. If you're new to the whole process, you can watch that. So definitely go and check them out. We also have our YouTube site available for y'all. We send it out in every newsletter. So you can go back and look at some of our webinars that we've done for Form 470s. All of our monthly webinars, we demonstrate some aspect of E-rate. So you might find those helpful as well. I'm just going to go ahead and open the floor. If anybody has any questions or anything specific that you would like to know how to find, we'd really like to show you how to do it. Does anybody have anything special that you want to know how to find as far as E-rate's concerned? Any information? Just go ahead and type it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak up. Well, we must have a bunch of E-rate experts. Oh,
that's me. I was just going to say you probably did such a great job that there were no questions.
Well, anyway, we just want everybody to be able to find something. I'm sorry. Okay, Barbara.
There is a question in the chat. The question is, this is off subject, but I need to change our library's email address. Where do I do that?
Okay, so you would go into EPC and you would log in, and well, actually, what I'll do is I'll use the training site, because I can log in so you can see what the screen will look like. So you'll see what the screen will look like. Oh, look, they logged in from the last time. Okay, so you would log into your library's EPC portal, and you see, if you see here, manage organizations, you would select your library's name and manage organizations. Here you can edit the name of the library if you want. You can put the address, zip and cut, anything that you needed to add, if you changed an address or anything like that. Your latitude and longitude, whether you're urban or rural, mailing address, if it's different than your physical address, telephone number, email. Here it is. So this is where you can edit your email address. We also recommend that you make sure that your library's locale code and square footage are present in your portal, because that is how your Category 2 budget is determined, using your locale code and your square footage.
And I've got one comment. Sorry, Caroline. One thing to add about wanting to change the email address. What Caroline just showed you is how you update your EPIC profile. So that's the email address on file for your library with USAC. What you will not be able to change, though, easily would be your login, which uses your email address. So if you're wanting to change the email address that you use to log in, that's a little more problematic, but it can be done. They're just going to have to create a whole new EPIC profile for you, set you up as the new admin for your library, and a few more steps.
Yes, and that's a really good thing for you to point out, Mel. And I was going down the changing the contact information for the library. But you're right. If you still have access to the original email that you used to set up your profile, we recommend that you continue to use that to log in. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you'll have to call the Client Services Bureau at 888-203-8100, or you can create a case in your EPC profile. And if you do that, so here where it says contact us and you want to create a customer service case, you can do that here. If you do change your email address for your login, what they'll have to do is deactivate your old email address. And so that email address, only email addresses can only be used one time in Epic, period. Like if you are a library member, you have a library profile and you are a consortium lead, you can't use the same email address for both accounts. It's quite inconvenient. So just be aware that if you call and change your login information to log in to EPC, you're basically making the email address that you're currently using no longer eligible for use in EPC. So thank you for pointing that out, Mel, because I wasn't even going down that going down that road.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Caroline?
Yes.
This is Barbara. It looks like we had a few late attendees, so could you remind us what the YouTube channel is so that if we want to go back, I know that I'm still struggling with the open data tool, so I might want to go back and replay that, and others on the call might want to go back and watch this video. So could you remind us what that channel is?
Sure, and I will even what I will do. Let's see. This is the Libraries Connecting Texas E-Rate newsletter. We actually send this to y'all once a week, and it always, if you scroll down to the very bottom of actually the beginning part, we always include a link to the Libraries Connecting Texas YouTube page so that we can, so that people can go to it easily. So we actually, you can see this is September, this is August, July, June, this is May. So anyway, this one, if for those of you who are doing Forms 470 and you want to learn about E-rate bandwidth, I recommend that you go and watch the July 2019 conference call, because in that one we had a great demonstration of, and including visuals of understanding internet bandwidth needs. Charles Thacker from our office actually went and did a demonstration of how the concept of bandwidth and how you can think about what bandwidth is. And so definitely recommend that for you if you haven't checked it out yet. Thanks for suggesting that, Barbara. Anybody else? Any other questions? Anything else that we might be able to show you? Okay, well, if not, I guess we'll go ahead and close our October call. We actually the next call is scheduled around Thanksgiving, so I think we're either going to reschedule or cancel the November call. We haven't made a decision yet on which of those it's going to be, but we will keep you posted. So stay tuned and keep reading your newsletter. So thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you.